chance to get your bite, sir. Staying over there right now. We have to see it. Right there. Everybody standing there, they didn't do nothing. For what? Every time you see me, you want to mess with me.
Bad man, and he deserved to die. Listen.
Bam. Greet you in the words of Assalamu alaikum, which means peace and blessings be upon you. And I mentioned both Jesus and Muhammad's names. Peace be upon them both. They were both messengers of truth and reality. You're looking at the Underground Railroad. Me and Alderman Jones come on every Saturday night at 10:30. And hi to the people in the United States, Central America, Canada, Asia, the UK, Middle East, and Africa. Yeah, I forgot. In Asia, I forgot somebody. But you know what? I'm outraged by Ferguson, but you know what? I'm going to thank you, Dr. Lee Warren. People introduce themselves, my co-host, and Dr. Lee Warren. So.
But I was a former Democratic Ward committeeman, which is a political party position. It's not it's not a political office. And I was the alderman of the 15th Ward in the city of Chicago.
Okay. Dr. Lee Warren, then your show, and please introduce yourself. Thank you.
I'm the PLEM, that's the Power-Related Man Anachronism. I'm the founder and CEO of PLEM. We come on every Wednesday, the PLEM show every Wednesday from 8:30 to 9:30. And also reshown at 10:30 to 11:30 on Wednesday, that's channel 36. And we also have our meeting every Sunday at 1100 East 55th Street in room 208.
And man, I look at you on YouTube. You are tying them up on with the numbers on YouTube. A lot of people look at you. But you know what? I am this outraged. You know, that Dr. Lee Warren, you know what? Why is it if you go out and kill a deer, you go out and kill an animal out of season, but if you kill a black man like Martin Luther King, let's see, Malcolm X, Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, they don't do anything. But if you kill an animal, I got a picture of a deer up there. But why is that?
Wait a minute, we got two things that separate. Those leaders are different from Trayvon and Mike Brown.
Okay.
And I'll tell you this, I'm telling you straight up. When he went in that cigar store and did what he did, if he had done it on the west side, see, I grew up on 16 in Lawndale.
Okay.
If he had done that stuff there, he got shot dead before he got out of the store. I'm going to tell you about a vice lord. Went into a store right there at 16 in Mill Lot. This is back in the 50s and 60s. Did that same thuggish stuff, and he got blown away. But wait a minute. Mm-hmm. See, the guy had these black young adults, they got a real angry attitude. And that's basically due to economics. Mm-hmm. So when the police, they're cussed, they do. Now listen, I'm gonna tell you how stupid some of this stuff is. Yeah. One is that, listen, when you out you out committing a felony, selling dope or something, you never turn the gun on the police. You put it down, go to jail, and you don't have no problems. You don't need another felony charge to add it. But these guys are crazy.
But Dr. Lee Warren in New York,
that's another situation. You can't compare the two situations.
Okay.
The first situation, that guy was out of order.
Eric Gardner was his
Mike
name.
Brown was out of order.
Okay.
Now the grand jury showed that he tried to take the police gun. He got shot twice. They had two shots inside the car.
You don't think that grand jury was set up to fail?
No, wait a minute. Listen. When you go to a grand jury, you got 12 witnesses, 14 witnesses. 12 of them was black. 2 of them committed perjury. And you had the forensic evidence. You know what? You watch the show, the CSI.
Okay.
You shoot somebody, they can tell whether it's whether you was shot from the back or the front. So you don't come in there talking no yin yang.
Okay. Go ahead. So he was guilty then. Okay.
No, I wouldn't say he was guilty. The guy, listen. Let me give you another example.
You talking about Ferguson?
I'm talking about Ferguson. What Mike did. Let me tell you. He's 6'2", 280 pounds. I had a cousin. She's a woman. She worked the narc division. And this guy was 6'4", 280. She's working the narcs. She wasn't weighing but 140 pounds. My first cousin. I said, cousin, what do I? He said, this guy she told him, listen, hit the ground.
Okay.
And he refused to. He said, Black B, I'm gonna kick your ML butt. And I said, cousin, what do you do? She said, I put 4 in it.
Yes, sir.
The commanding officer asked her, why did you shoot the guy like that? She said, listen, I'm only 140 pounds.
I was afraid of losing my life.
That's it. There you go. And that's what the officer said.
Hey, go ahead, and then I got to go ahead.
Well, I can be frank and honest with you. There's only one thing I question about the shooting there, is that his body was 150 feet from where the original shooting took place.
Well, you know he ran.
Of course he ran, and then he
After they put them slugs in him.
and there was 10 more shots after that was recorded on a cell phone.
Well, like
But
it said,
you got to expect that to happen when a guy is 6'4", the police officer is only maybe 100 and some pounds.
that's it.
All right, and they have to know the law. I used to tell young men,
Go ahead and talk to him.
you better learn the law.
That's it. There you go.
All right, the law says, for example, and most young men and women don't know. It says that if a police officer is in fear of losing his life, then he has the right to use deadly force.
Let me ask you
Now, who knows that?
That's it.
How many of young people know that?
They don't know that. But listen, you hear all the time these police, they shoot at the police. You know, when we would grow up with the vice lords and co, very few people shot at the police.
Dr. Lee Warren.
Am I right?
That's right.
And you know, you from the west side,
Yeah, I was
from
on,
over in Rockwell. What is that?
no, I was on Lake Street in Horner.
That's what I'm saying. That was a rough neighborhood.
Dr. Lee Warren, there seems to be a wholesale price on black men's heads right now. So, in your opinion, was it any justification for killing Eric Gardner, I'm talking about in New York, and Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King?
You put them in the same bag. I don't like that. I don't like that. I do not like that. When you talk about Malcolm X and Martin Luther, they're not the same character of people.
Okay.
Don't put them in the same bag.
Okay. But was it
That guy was out there selling $2 cigarettes. They shouldn't have cussed him for it was only a misdemeanor. So
Probably was a city ordinance violation.
it's a misdemeanor. But they got over aggressive. They put the guy in a chokehold and he died. So you know what you do? You take it to civil court. You know what you know what he's liable to get? He's liable to get about $50 million.
Okay. I got to ask you something.
Well, let me ask you one other thing. Let me say this: how did blacks get their civil rights down in Alabama?
March.
No, it didn't. It did
Protest,
that. No,
boycott.
There you go. It was boycott. Economic boycott is what turned the thing around. As far as out marching, that didn't no damn thing.
Go ahead, and then I got to.
Am I right?
I agree with you.
When they sat down and said they wasn't going to they wasn't going to go to Walgreens, they wasn't going to go ride the bus, they wasn't going to go to Woodworks, they cried. They cried. So would you please come in here and do business with us? They almost broke. They was breaking them.
But I'm
That's the only
listening
thing
to
the
you.
white man understand.
I'm listening to you, but basically what you're saying in Ferguson, they made the right decision by the acquittal with the police. I'm listening.
I think they made the right decision.
Okay.
You do not try to take a policeman's gun. And
Okay.
and if you listen, all they had to do is say, listen. The whole thing could avoid it. Say, listen, I'm wrong. I could be charged with misconduct or a misdemeanor, and fine. It didn't have to go this far.
Okay. Go ahead. And then I got other questions for him. Go ahead. This is a live show. Please call in.
Well, I'll say the same thing that after we take this phone call, somebody's
We
waiting.
got a call. We got a call. Okay. No, ask your question. Then we're gonna go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I believe that the people are going about what they're doing the wrong way.
Exactly.
I believe all they have to do in every major city where these things happen, like the Howard Morgan case, which nobody ain't paying no attention to. Here's a man who used to be a Chicago police officer, who was a railroad detective at the time. He was shot 28 times. Now you know he ain't gonna get out of no car and pull no gun on no police officers because he already knows
Right.
what the results. And then he's 63 years old, and they give him 40 years in jail. They didn't even give Rob Blagojevich that, and there was no one shot in his case, in the Morgan case at all. They didn't even find no traces of gun residue on his hands. They knew that they had messed up,
That's right.
and they knew they were going to be sued for maybe $100 million.
Got
Go and ask your question now.
You know what my question to you, Dr. Lee Warren, is, you know what Mark Kirk is a senator. He introduced legislation to imprison the GDs and the gangster disciples and all. Listen, why wasn't there legislation to try to imprison the syndicate, the KKK, and Rami Kwawu, he's a state senator, has introduced legislation to say that it is a felony to use a camera to tape the police. What is your opinion on both of them?
Well, the first
They
one,
can tape you, but you can't tape them.
well, that's unconstitutional. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. But as far as the other question you got concerning that is, it comes back to the fact that what was the first question again? Go get the phone.
Okay, go ahead, caller. Go ahead and beat your drums.
Yes, the professor certainly has some insights into the situation that I think the host is missing. It's clear that the situation in Ferguson is apples and oranges compared to the situation in New York City, in Staten Island, rather.
Okay.
That man was 280 pounds. They keep calling him unarmed. His size alone made him armed. When he jumped into the squad car and attacked the policeman, such that the policeman had to defend himself by shooting out from underneath him, that in itself is the attack. If he runs away, if he ends up 150 feet away, logic got a hold of him and said, well, you better run from the shooting gun. But he initiated this.
Okay.
He initiated it by robbing the convenience store.
Okay.
So this whole innocence question is nonsense.
Okay. We're going to let the doctor respond to that.
Well, he's right. Well, going back to your first question about what was that? I forgot what the first question.
Senator Kirk.
Well, Senator Kirk. That's what Senator Kirk. Let me say this. I mean, the problem comes down to simply this, and nobody is trying to address the problem. Don't nobody want to tackle the problem. There's no, let me excuse me, damn jobs for these youth. That's what it all comes down. If you had the steel mills and General Motors operating, half of these people would be in the street. But since there's no jobs for them here, it's paying a livable wage.
They resort to illegal activities.
There you go, exactly. And the illegal activities causes problem with the dope, the guns, and that's the whole problem. So we don't need to talk. The problem is they trying to lock up, the symptom is the violence. The violence is the symptom. The cause is that there's no jobs for them.
Decent paying jobs.
That's decent paying jobs.
But you know what Dr. Lee wants.
So let me say what they're trying to do is this. You can eliminate all the jobs. You can eliminate all the problems in Chicago, immediately. All you gotta do is lock up all the black youths from 18 to 30, and you ain't had no crime.
I want to ask you a question.
And that's illegal.
I want to follow up with a question. You said that them not indicting the individual in Ferguson, the police officer, you said that was the right decision. I have a question.
Now, wait a minute, that's a grand jury now.
The grand jury. If that was the right decision in your opinion, why was it so? Why was it nationwide and worldwide people were out protesting?
You know why? The media played a game on the folks. They played a game on the media, hyped it up. They never said, well, here is the grand jury evidence. You had 14 witnesses. 7 testified that the police was attacking the car. 2 committed perjury and said they were shot in the back. And they kept egging this thing on because they wanted a riot. They wanted a riot.
To establish martial law.
Establish some form of martial law. Listen, they need chaos. That's all they're going to do. They're going to use this chaos to establish martial law. Once they get martial law, you don't have any rights. Any rights. None.
I think we got a caller. Well, go ahead, caller. Go ahead and beat the drums. Go ahead.
Yes, this is Edison Williams. Dr. Warren, I beg to differ with you on Ferguson. As a woman, African-descendant woman, I'm looking at these police officers beating on black women, the one on the highway. I think that they have a superior racist concept in their policing of the communities of color. Now, with Ferguson, that police officer was just as big as that young boy.
No, he wasn't.
And yes, he may have, listen to me now, grabbed at that gun, but the premise was he pulled up adjacent to them because of the harassment that the police officers put on the young black male in Ferguson. And I take issue with the fact that he had to use deadly force because that is the reason that police officers can rationalize their killing and murdering of African American males, and really the things that unlike that how they're doing black women. What is your comment on that, sir?
I don't agree on that. See, I'm looking at the grand jury testimony with witness and forensic evidence. See, you know what forensic evidence is? It stands on its own. And once you get the pathologists and stuff given, and they say, wait a minute, you said the man was shot in the back? And they say, yeah, we shot him in the back, but why is the wound in the front?
So basically, also what you're saying is everybody that was protesting all over the world, they were dumbed down by the media.
Listen, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you straight up. This is no chaser. Listen, demonstration never accomplished any damn thing. And let me tell you something. When Bush went to war, the second, Bush Jr., they had over 100 million folks. You know what happened?
What?
They still went to war. They said, we don't want no war. We don't want no war. I said, they don't know what the hell they messing with. They went to war.
But you do agree that, that racism does take place within the police department.
Oh, no question.
Racial
Every day.
profiling. Okay. But it's okay to shoot a deer. Okay, but if you shoot the deer out of season, you're going to jail. But
exactly.
But you can shoot all these black men and you don't do no time.
Listen, they better be extremely careful when you out there in the street. And my father and my mother always told me how to talk to an officer. You say, yes, sir, no, sir. And if there's any altercation, we take it to the court. You don't wrestle with no officer. You don't push no police officer. See, I don't think they've been told, it's like Virgil say, there's a law. Mm-hmm. There's a way of conducting yourselves. Like I had some nephews, like I said, no, Mom, you damn wrong.
Yes, sir.
You do not talk to, you say, yes, sir, no, sir, to those officers, and you try to give them as least hassle as they can. Because listen, I'm going to tell you what they can do. They can get real nasty, and then they say something, and they can tap your damn license and put you down in jail.
We got another call.
Go ahead.
Caller, go ahead and beat the drums, caller.
Good evening, now. Now, the guest, right? You hear?
That's James.
Go on.
Okay, yes. You should respect the police. Okay, what if the parents the police, and they don't get just, y'all doing a good time. I wonder what you think about that.
They don't respect us. He right to a certain extent.
Listen, the problem is if you out selling dope and you committing a felony, you got a problem. But then, this is the problem. The problem is you do not add to a felon. See, this is what usually happens. We had one of our members. They decided to get some money one night. They wanted to date somebody. So they went out and accidentally stuck up somebody. What happened was the person they tried to stuck up wrestled with the gun. You know what happened? The gun went off and killed a man. They said, I didn't mean to kill a man, but what's the penalty for that? Is that first or second degree murder?
First degree murder.
See what I'm saying?
Okay. Dr. Lee Warren, you have another telephone call. Caller, go ahead and beat the drums.
Yeah. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, now this is L. How come is if they can't have any mandatory civic training for the policemen toward minorities and have periodic spot checks in the field of ununiformed personnel?
Go ahead.
Well, unbeknownst to the public, they have a unit in the police department in Chicago known as the Corrupt Practice Unit of the police department. And they do have those individuals. And they do end up putting police officers in jail. But your cabal that runs all these newspapers, they make sure it's not made public to the people. And you can report stuff to the Corrupt Practice Unit by just calling 311 and asking them the phone number, not to an IED, but to the Corrupt Practice Unit of the police department.
I got to make a quick program note because you know what? I want y'all to listen to Minister Cynthia Williams every Saturday at 9 o'clock on Blog Talk Radio, which I produce the show. And Dr. Lee Warren, you say this was all set up to a certain extent to make the people go haywire. Is this set up to lead people into the FEMA camps that already exist around the nation? Where the coffins are located, and some people don't even know what FEMA camps are. But
when this thing finally collapsed, the dollar collapsed, and you have total depression and chaos. People can't get any food. They will riot like the same thing they did down there, and they will round up and take it to FEMA camps. What they're going to do, they won't do it immediately. They let the city burn down.
Somebody don't know what FEMA camps are.
That's a federal
emergency management agency.
It's a federal
camp,
emergency camp. It's the same thing they did to the Japanese.
Which is just like what they did in Germany.
Right. They take you to a camp, a work camp.
They take you to a concentration
camp, basically.
Yeah, but so the body cameras that they're talking about equipping the police with, that President Obama's putting forth a bill for police to wear body cameras. Is this a good idea, bad idea, and who's going to be monitoring those body cameras?
Well, you know who's going to be out of that. That's going to be probably somebody in the police department.
In the police department.
Is this a good idea?
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's a good and bad idea. I tell you the good idea.
What's the pros and the cons?
The pros are this. If he stops you, remember that camera's going, and maybe he want to give you some slack. But see, you're in violation. You say you clearly read a red light, they caught you out there. He said, well, listen, I'm about to take you in. That doesn't do it. I'm going to give you another example. My cousin, she was working again, narcs, so make it do it quickly. It was some young boys terrorizing this senior. And they pulled over and they found out what happened. The senior was carrying his pistol. And so what happened was the youth was ready to rob him. And she said, what? So the white policeman, she was going to take the gun and take him in. Mm-hmm. She said, no, here's your gun. You need protection. And she went over to the youth and told him, listen, if you F with that man again, you going to see us. Mm-hmm. So you could see the situation there.
Okay.
That type of situation.
Well, I can tell you, when I was a policeman.
Go ahead.
I had a senior citizen who they was trying to terrorize. Mm-hmm. And I took his bullets out of his gun and say, here, take this gun and go on about your business. You ain't out here trying to rob nobody.
Exactly. But if that's a camera, he had to be taking what? If he's carrying a weapon that's not concealed,
he has to be taken in.
You got to be taken in.
Okay, I mean, but it could stop disparities that exist.
Oh, yeah.
We're Rodney. I'm saying
that's a
good side.
That's a good side. I'm talking about the other side.
There's always pros and cons.
That's what we're looking at.
Okay.
But I think
we got other caller.
I think what Kwame Raoul did was outlandish for a man
He's
of
a
our
state senator.
Heat. All right, he shouldn't even be in office.
He's a state senator that has said just trying to make it illegal for
you to take a picture
citizens
of a police officer
to film the police officers
people.
You can shoot
and make it a felony.
You can take a camera and shoot everybody.
You know the only reason I know about this, and I did
That's
research.
That's a violation of the First Amendment.
That's right.
The Booty Butt Naked Truth, WGBX 1570 radio station. I knew about it, heard that, and I didn't know, and I did research. And that's a good show, and y'all need to listen to that. You know, we got other caller. Go ahead and beat the drums.
Yeah, hello?
Go ahead.
Yes, I want to get your comment about Trayvon Martin. Zimmerman was told to avert the chase and stop. Wouldn't that make him the aggressor? So if he was the aggressor, how did he get off the case? Thank you.
That's a good question. And as it went before the jury, remember this is the jury there. It was listen, you got to understand, when you go before a jury, both sides present their case. Mm-hmm. And it's the jury that makes a decision. So how they present the case and how they frame that case is what the jury got there.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me show you something. Depends on who's on the jury. I had a case.
Right.
I later found out when I got out of prison that one of the jurors, when I was a policeman, that I had put her brother in the penitentiary. And she made a decision about whether to find me guilty or not guilty.
Well, she should have never been on the case in the beginning.
She should be prosecuted.
Right. She should never been in the case anyway.
Right. Didn't the prosecutors know that? If I found out?
Yeah, well, they should have known that.
They should have.
The case should have been thrown out and retried.
Okay, I want to ask you this question about a civil rights leader, Martin Luther King, if I can. You said that before Martin Luther King died, he had made a statement to Harry Belafonte. Said that I fear that I made a mistake. I fear that I am leading my people
into a burning house.
Into a burning house.
That's right.
Do you think that's true?
That's true.
And why?
Why? Economically, the thing is falling down, and the black leaders have never. We don't have a a self-contained. We don't have an economic base. What I mean, if you go over to Chinatown, you got Chinatown. You can walk right over to Greektown, and they got a Greektown. They got all their restaurants, they got their nightclubs and everything. And listen, you ain't acting crazy over there.
You go on the northwest side, you got a Polish
town.
town.
They got a Polish town. And you know why? It's mainly, I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to get it straight right now.
Go on Taylor Street. You got an Italian town.
You got an Italian town. You know why? Now, you can say, well, Glove decided this in the 60s. He decided in the 70s. He decided this. He said, listen, the reason why I knocked these young Negroes out and create brutality, he said, listen, I want to be dead and gone. He said, but you won't have any black businesses in the neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
And that's what he said.
Yes, sir.
Now, you don't have, in other words, who going to employ you?
It's true. Prison industrial complex, probably.
No, I mean, the Polish people got a Polish there.
I just asked a guy, doctor, the other day, a black man.
We got 2 minutes left.
I asked him a question. I said, tell me one black business that you know of. And he stood there, and he stood there. He said, I can't tell you one. I said, now you see what the problem is with our young people.
Right.
They can't get no job.
That's it.
As Honorable Elijah Muhammad said years ago, he said, you better learn how to do something for yourself, because the time is coming when the Caucasian is going to take care of his brothers and his sisters. And ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
Excuse
I'm on with that.
Excuse me, you know what? Condolences to Judy Barter Pinker. You know,
yeah, she was a great.
I thought she was a tough politician.
Right, honest politician.
But I want to ask you something. You know, will you have any finishing comments? What time your show come on, and when will you meet?
My comment is that to the young people, don't give up hope, and you don't have to go out and do something illegal. And then when you commit an illegal act, listen, do not compound the thing. Mm-hmm. That's the big problem.
Your show comes on?
My show comes on every Wednesday from 8:30 to 9:30 on Channel 36, and it's reshown Thursday morning from 10:30 to 11:30. That's AM, and then we meet at 1100 East 55th Street every Sunday. And this Sunday, next Sunday, we have a free financial preparedness. You can contact us at 773-509-8124. That's 773-509-8124.
Thank you, Dr. Lee Warren. Do you have any finishing comments?
No, I'm just saying that we need to get a group and hold a seminar to teach young people what the law is. Because our young people do not understand or know what the law is. They be with their friends, they say, look, let's go rob this guy. Mm-hmm. We'll put on some masks. Mm-hmm. Well, that means that you have a mandatory 6-year sentence right. in the penitentiary if you've got a mask on. And they don't know that.
No, they don't know that. And I want to say assalamu alaikum to everybody. And you know what? I am the coordinator of the Gordy Foundation Radio and TV program at 6430 in Ashland. It's for non-for-profit organization for individuals that want to learn about television. Me, Mr. Glover, and Alderman Jones. You know, we work, and Miss Audrey and Mr. Porter. So, you know, come over there, see us, visit us, because we want this non-for-profit organization to work, and we want the community to understand that there are stories out there in the media that need to be told. The individuals need to know how to work cameras. They need to know how to do lighting. They know how to do basic editing. This is a non-for-profit organization, and they do a show at Hotline 21. They're just on break right now. But give Miss Audrey a call. Give me a call to get more information. And I want to say assalamu alaikum. And you can catch all of these gentlemen up here on the stage on YouTube. All you have to do is just put in Dr. Lee Warren's name, Alderman Virgil Jones' name, or my name. Assalamu alaikum.